Hackers maintain access within their target environment by installing persistence mechanisms. Oftentimes, these are cutesy, cheesy, simple scheduled tasks or services or auto runs, things that will automatically kick off as you log back into your computer or your computer turns on. And sometimes when these are just staged to run malware outright, they're pretty easily detected. They're pretty easy to spot. They're pretty easy to see when it's just staging, the payload that is actually malicious and will detonate something further. Oftentimes, a threat actor or hacker adversary, pen tester, red teamer might try to blend in and sort of masquerade and camouflage by using some living off the land or lol-bin techniques. In this video, we're going to showcase one other cool, neat, clever way that you might be able to stage some other execution by hiding it with living off the land or lol-bin techniques. This technique is well known. It's actually been out and about for a couple years now. It is public. It's even included within the persistenceinfo.github.io, or a public project and repository to collect information about different Windows persistence mechanisms or unique living off the land utilities and tricks that you could use, much like lol-bins, much like GTFO-bins, and it's a great repository. I think this is maintained by Grigorez Torek, Ogtweet over on Twitter. I don't know if he's over there in the Mastodon universe, but this has an awesome list of more unique, more special, better, sharper things you might be able to use for persistence mechanisms other than the usual simple classic and vanilla run keys, scheduled tasks, IFEO debuggers, etc., etc. This one I thought would be neat to showcase, and that is the disk cleanup handler. The disk cleanup handler, the native installed inherent utility on Windows, your normal operating system, can be tweaked, can be modified, can be tinkered with. If you have admin permissions, you might be able to go ahead and actually set up some other persistence within the Windows registry to execute other code, execute other things that you might want it to run outside of a DLL. Now here's the gist. Although Windows comes with a number of disk cleanup handlers, they aren't designed to handle files produced by other applications. So instead, the disk cleanup manager is designed to be flexible and extensible by enabling any developer to implement and register their own disk cleanup handler. Any developer can extend the available disk cleanup services by implementing and registering a disk cleanup handler. The Persistence Info webpage actually links and references this original article right up in blog post from Adam, or Hexacorn on Twitter. So hey, kudos, credit where credit is due. All of this is great research from Hexacorn, and he should have all the spotlight here. I'm just kind of regurgitating all the great stuff he's already put together. This listing of files to delete within the graphical user interface is not random. It's actually pulled from this registry key in the HKey local machine, software, Microsoft Windows, current version, Explorer, volume caches. And we can actually go fire this thing up. I'll copy and paste that, and I'll open up regedit. I realize the text is a little bit small, so I'm not going to be in here for a whole lot, but take a look at all of these lists, everything that might be included within the disk cleanup handlers. Now here's the kicker. We can add entries to this list. We can actually add in our own disk cleanup handlers. This is actually pretty well documented. There is a link to the Microsoft documentation where you can go take a look at how you might create a disk cleanup handler and all the utilities that are included here. This whole section on registering a disk cleanup handler explains the whole process and tells you all the ins and outs that you might not actually use or utilize, or it might give you some ideas for some other new cool thing that you might be able to take advantage of. It's all about that innovation, creativity, hacker stuff. So if we were to create our own registry keys, our own entries, our own configurations where we can supply and register our own disk cleanup manager, then we could actually invoke and execute our own code anytime the cleanup manager tool is actually ran. So we need a couple different things, right? First, we need our CLS ID, or the GUID looking thing, the hexadecimal curly brace identifier for that specific thing that we want to use, and the DLL itself, the actual payload, what we want to execute, detonate, and act as our, second stage persistence mechanism, whatever we want. Now, it's worth noting that this technique on its own is not persistence, right? It's just using the lol-bin living off the land binary to look like legitimate activity. But if you were to kind of tie this together with some run key, auto run, scheduled task, whatever, having something that looks like it's scheduled to do a disk cleanup looks kind of legitimate. Like, I don't think it's too far-fetched if your system administrator had a task that would just say, hey, nightly system cleaning, or nightly, hey, defragmentation of hard drives, whatever you want. That looks a heck of a lot less suspicious than a giant encoded PowerShell base64 string. Hey, if you are doing a whole lot of stuff like this with persistence, living off the land techniques for ethical hacking, red teaming, purple teaming, penetration testing, hey, you should probably be checking out the sponsor of this video, PlexTrac. When you're performing a penetration test, you're in the zone. You're hacking away, and you're having fun, gathering findings, beating up vulnerabilities, and earning domain admin. But you might be dreading the work that comes after. you have to write a report. But writing a pen test report doesn't have to be dull and boring and long and tedious. In fact, it can be a breeze. You don't even have to worry about your report because PlexTrac can handle it for you. If you aren't familiar, PlexTrac is the premier cybersecurity reporting and collaboration platform that makes penetration testers, red teamers, and cybersecurity teams more efficient, effective, and proactive. PlexTrac removes the pain of reporting and lets you collaborate between both red and blue teams for effective purple teaming and faster remediation. The PlexTrac platform lets you easily aggregate findings, pull in reusable content from write-up databases and content libraries, and track and measure engagement progress in real time. Import assets from CSV files or Nmap or Nessus and so many others of your favorite tools. With over 25 integrations, you can streamline your reporting and collaboration process right into your existing workflow. You can do even faster testing with PlexTrac's runbooks and show the impact to managers and leadership with PlexTrac's analytics and visualizations. Within minutes, you can have your pen test report done and dusted, all with your team's logo and details, and then sent off to the client. Spend more time hacking and less time reporting. Learn how you can boost your team's efficiency by 30% and cut reporting time by up to 65% with PlexTrac. Seriously, check out PlexTrac. I have great colleagues and peers that use PlexTrac every day for reporting. Get started with my link below in the video description and let you and your team get back to hacking. Huge thanks to PlexTrac for sponsoring this video. So I've been trying to do a whole lot more with Golang, an incredible, super cool programming language that compiles down into an actual binary and can be cross-platform, Windows, Linux, Macs, yada yada. It feels a little bit stronger than Python, you know what I mean? So I thought, you know what, I'll spit together some stupid code to generate a unique identifier, or our CLS ID. I'm gonna move into Git, and I think that's in my Go snippets UUID here. Perfect, okay, so I can go run UUID, and now I have a generated silly CLS ID after I've cleaned up a unique identifier that Google package would have worked well for me here. So I'm going to take note of it. I'm just going to copy and paste that. And now I also have some Golang code to just simply bundle up a stupid DLL, where I might export a function like I would in C to just pop open the calculator. Hey, we're going to do a simple innocent payload, not going to do some big flashy remote access Trojan, whatever, Cobalt Strike thing here. I just want to keep it simple for the sake of showcase. And in fact, I might actually clean this up because I do want it to not strictly use the exported DLL function. I kind of want it to just run the calc application whenever. So let me actually create an init function and try to actually run my exported DLL function just as well within that. Func main is fine. That doesn't need to do anything. But I will actually save that, and I do have the syntax to compile this. I took note of this because there's no way that I would remember it, but go build mode C shared library, Windows GUI, that. So I'm going to hop back over to the Windows DLL directory, and I have all of that saved in the current directory. I can go ahead and use the compile.bat script to hopefully build out this DLL. Cool, that looks good. And now I do have my go DLL.dll. So I should just be able to run DLL32 /go DLL.dll. No? Okay, I think I need to actually supply an export here, but if I were to use like exported DLL function, we know that we've already staged that to run calculator, but because I've added that init function, it actually runs it twice. If I don't specify that exact exported function, and if I use the like $1, which is going to be a comment in PowerShell, so that's kind of stupid, let me make that a string, that should still pop up in my calculator application. And even if I just used like any export that does not exist, like I'll still pop up in calculator, because the go DLL has been kind of invoked and fired up, right? But now we'll want to hook these together within a registry, right? So I should be able to go ahead and create a new key, and I'll call this like cache cleaner or something that could blend in. And then if I create this, I want to modify the default entry here, and I'll paste in the CLS ID or like GUID looking thing that we generated with Golang. So now that that is hooked up, that should be all that it needs to like actually run and be an option for us. But we still need to actually tell the system that this CLS ID refers to the DLL that I want to run. So I'm going to go back to the HKey classes root key, or the hive, right? And then I want to move into CLS ID as it's all been defined here. And now we'll need to go ahead and create a new CLS ID key for our rogue malicious key, right? So let me hit enter on this, and now we need to go ahead and create a new key as the blog defines in proc server 32, actually set to the path of our bad DLL, right? So let me do a new in proc server 32. And once that is created, we'll go ahead and set the default key over here to the path of our DLL. So in the current directory, that is all of this, go dll.dll. Let me paste that in, go dll.dll, and there we go. And now finally, with all that hooked up, I should be able to just run clean manager, clean MGR, and when it asks, hey, what drive do you want to clean up, you would just normally just kind of hit OK, but sweet, now it pops up our calculator and our payload is automatically executed. Whatever code we put in our custom DLL, hey, we've got it and it's running. Now, note that little cutesy, cheesy, dumb, like simple ask a question on the GUI is annoying. So they do note if you pass in a /auto clean within the blog post, you can just invoke it right away. And that will still fire it without even running the GUI, but still executing your DLL as you would like. That's kind of neat. Now I know, hey, we are just kind of scratching the surface here and using a simple, innocent, benign payload of popping open the calculator application. Of course, you can make this be whatever you want it to be. You can write your DLL, you can customize it to do anything, but there is also some other stuff that you could do naturally using the disk cleanup handler. I'm not going to showcase all these, but I do want to let you know it exists. And of course, credit where credit is due. This is all Adam and Hexacorn's great work. If you're looking at some of the other volume cache entries, they all normally have this CLS ID, and that refers to the dataclen.dll, which could really take in some other arguments or kind of settings, configuration values within the registry. You could actually supply a pre-cleanup string or a cleanup string that will allow for other programs, other applications and code that you want to run either before or after the disk cleanup handler is ran. That's kind of neat, but it relies on it being able to clean something, so you need to consistently drop a location or a file on the file system so that we'll be able to actually do this. And that could work, but I don't know, that gets a lot of questions in my head because I'm wondering about, the real legitimate use case of all this. You can define what you want it to clean up, what files it should be doing to delete, and then what thing it should actually execute, but you have to write that file to disk. Granted, you already had to write a file to disk if you wanted to run your custom DLL, so there might be some things to keep in mind if you actually use this in a real environment for whatever test or assessment that you do, but I thought that was kind of cool nonetheless. Seriously, think about it. Are there going to be some environments either that you know of or that you might see in the future potentially where, hey, there could very well be a system administrator creating a scheduled task or regular auto run that just has a disk cleanup utility run every now and again for system maintenance or whatever. But unbeknownst to whatever forensic analyst or, I don't know, SOC watchstander, that disk cleanup manager is actually going to kick off something else, and you wouldn't know it if you just looked at the command line. It just simply looks like clean manager auto clean. In this video, we set this up manually. Hey, we were clicking through the registry, adding those keys and doing it on our own with the mouse and keyboard, but wouldn't it be nice to automate this functionality in a small little tool? So hey, if I may, I'd like to task you an exercise for the reader or the watcher. If you want to write some code to be able to stage all this for you, I'm trying to again put together some stupid Golang code where I might be able to have a lol clean project, or I don't know, I'm going to automate setting up all those registry values and maybe cleaning up the mess that we let have had before, or making it so that you could supply whatever command you want to run, not just pop open the calculator, but stage this all together in a nice bundled, weaponized way to do it. And that is another persistence mechanism that you could stitch together in your own assessments, engagements, whatever you're up to, with living off the land utilities, binaries that are already installed in the operating system, like the disk cleanup handler, and you might be able to make some mischief out of it. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, do all those YouTube algorithm things, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.